Good morning, it's me, Pearl from Pearl and the Prayers, and this is Tuned In Tarot. And normally we're here to look at the balance between the divine masculine and divine feminine energies inside of ourselves. But for this next week, we're going to focus entirely on the divine feminine's energy and how she can fully come into her own Empress energy. And good morning, thank you for joining. The reason that I'm switching up the way that I'm going to do the readings for this next 7 days is because in the reading on Monday, the divine feminine was called to retreat from the story, the same story that she's been telling. And if you've been following me for a minute and tuning into the readings that happen on Sundays with Grace Strega, we also saw there was a lot of opportunity for us to talk about the quote-unquote twin flame label, twin flame union, etc. And that is something that a lot of the feminines in this collective get overly focused on. Good morning. So I wanted to do something to honestly relieve myself, since I'm one of the feminines in the collective. And I said, I actually told my followers on Monday, I was like, you know what? Stop watching these readings for 7 days, because just take a break. You need to just take a break from the storyline. Good morning, Carolyn. So I stepped back from my readings on Monday and was like, I told the divine feminines to stop telling the twin flame story, take a break from the masculine feminine, worrying about what the masculine thinks about, worrying about this and that and the other thing. And then I sat there with myself and was like, how the hell am I going to take a 7-day break from the story if my job is to tell the story? There's nothing wrong with the story. The twin flame story is about union and self, but we like to put this on one individual in our lives, and that's not what the twin flame story is supposed to be about. So I wanted to be able to take a break myself also from telling the same story, because I live that story as well, and it blocks me. And I was like, well, I guess I should just not read for 7 days, because I'm not listening to any other readings, and I'm just kind of like trying to take a mental break. And then when I was checking in with Ash, who's part of the Tuned In Tarot team, I thought about it and I was like, no, I'm not going to take a break from reading for 7 days, because that's my joy and that's my passion. I'm just going to take a break from the story. So I don't know if my viewership is going to plummet for the next 7 days. We are not talking about the masculine at all. We're going to talk about the feminine's perspective. There might be information about masculine in that perspective that she has, but we're always going to be just kind of focusing right now on how we can become our own Empress and be fully in our own Empress energy without having to tell the story of another partner or worry about what that other partner is thinking all the time. And then on Wednesdays, I do obstacles remove spread. So we're going to start off this whole Empress week by looking at the obstacles we need to remove in order to fully become empowered in our divine feminine energy. So we're going to use goddess cards. We're going to use only 2 decks instead of 4 decks, because we don't need to look at masculine today. And maybe I'll have a masculine focus for the next 7 days after that to sort of balance it out the way that I like to do. But I just wanted to take us away from the feminines in the collective who are really needing a break from thinking about what this person that they want to be with is thinking about, or what they're doing, or I just want you to focus on yourself. And if you find yourself being like, well, I don't want to listen to this today because I'm not going to find out what my person is thinking. First of all, you'll know what your person is thinking by your own energy. That's what I teach. But if you're tuning out because you don't want to take care of yourself, that's why you're not with any person. So, long intro to my obstacles remove spread, but that's the spread we're going to be using today. The way that this works is we take the top of the deck, we look at the general energy. We take the bottom of the deck, that is the obstacle that we need to remove. And then we look at each of the 6 different positions and how we can go about that process. So we're going to start off with the general energy that divine feminine is feeling at the moment. We've got headspace and heart space, just like we normally have. We're going to use the Muse tarot in the headspace today and the Crow tarot in the heart space. We have a general energy of the 8 of Swords in reverse, or 8 of Voices if you're using the Muse Tarot's words that they use for these suits. And we're getting Hermit energy. Now, I just saw Grace Strega had Hermit energy on Monday in reverse. And so now we're back in it. We're back in the Hermit energy today. And this is really amazing because it's actually what I'm doing right now. The Divine Feminine is seeking through this soul-searching energy. She's on her own at the moment. She's going within. She's really seeking to understand and release behaviors that sabotage her or protect her from being able to have the things that she desires. So the general energy right now is she's like, I'm willing to go within and seek out these answers because I no longer want to engage in behaviors that are really blocking me from being able to be empowered. Let's look at the block. Oh, it's very interesting. The headspace is the Chariot upright, and the heart space is the Ace of Cups. Now, it's really freaky. If you don't follow Grace Strega, after you watch this, go follow her because we are very much in alignment. Monday's card for Grace Strega was the Hermit in reverse. Tuesday's card, Ace of Cups. And here we are looking at the Ace of Cups, and it's our block. And why is it our block? Well, many of you might have clicked off because you're not going to get information about Divine Masculine today. And you don't really want to take care of yourself. You're having a hard time focusing on self, choosing self. And for me, this is about moving on. So Divine Feminine's obstacle right now is that she's often choosing other people's needs and staying in situations that demand forward motion, but being unwilling to do what is best from herself and move away from where she is. Good morning. So let's see where this block originated. In the headspace, we're getting the 10 of Wands upright. And in the heart space, we're getting the 3 of Wands upright. So this is interesting. That's a lot of Wands energy all up in one place for something to originate. So, I'm drawn to a couple different things. First of all, there's passion. Passion is where this block originated. So this desire to, because you have an intense or passionate personality, and there's this tendency for us, since we're not really taught to focus on ourselves as the feminine energy. The feminine energy is taught to care for everyone else, to be responsible for everyone else. This is the 10 of Wands energy, burdened, responsibility. The 3 of Wands is about patience, and it's about pieces falling into place, but it's also about waiting. So Divine Feminine, your block of not wanting to move on and not wanting to choose yourself and feel and really go and look for a cup that reflects your own self-love, really not wanting to do it, feeling afraid you can't take care of yourself, and feeling like you have to be in control also. That's another block. Having to control things is another thing that's coming up for the Chariot as well. But this has originated in your desire, your passionate desire to wait for the one, right? It's your responsibility as Divine Feminine to wait for the one. This is where the block is originating. It's an old story, a fantasy. How is it manifesting in this 3D? Son of a bitch. Impatience, because we're getting Temperance in reverse, and we're getting the 4 of Pentacles in reverse. So how is it manifesting in the 3D? It's destabilizing you, potentially financially. It's also causing you to have to face issues of letting go of people, things, jobs that really do not serve you. Despite your passion, despite your intention to take on everyone's responsibilities and burdens, you're realizing that you actually do have to let go of these things. And it's causing a destabilization in your foundation. It's also causing you a lot of impatience. Hang on a second. I'm going to close my window because it's so fucking loud here. Oh my God. Sorry about it. Drives me insane. Christ. And it's like, I feel like the glass is not even actually soundproof in any way. Okay, so impatience, and boy am I feeling it today. I dropped a deck all over in the corner. I had to crawl under the freaking desk to get it. I had like stuff falling. My stupid tripod is a piece of shit. Never spend $40 on Joby tripod. It's the worst. It got high reviews and I don't know why, because it's the absolute worst I've ever had. It's been that kind of a day. Like I was like, maybe I won't do the reading. Maybe I just will take a 7-day vacation. Impatience, frustration, and having to let go of things that you really want to cling to, but you don't want to. That is how we're seeing this manifest here in the 3D. What will help me remove this block? Oh, please. Please, Lord up in heaven, help us remove this block. Wow. The Two of Wands in reverse. And the Lovers. What will help you remove this block is if you stop telling the twin flame story, which is exactly why we're here for the next 7 days, to focus on the new story Divine Feminine needs to tell about her own cup. What will help remove this block is to walk away from the twin flame journey at this moment, to release this idea that there is one person that you're supposed to be with. That's not true. You're supposed to be with everyone you come into contact with until you pass. Every person who crosses your path is a soul connection. Every relationship is important that you have. And I'm not talking just marriage and love. I'm also talking about your friends and your family. Every relationship is a soul connection. Every relationship has soul contracts in it. Every relationship has stuff that you have to work on. So if you want to remove this block of being stuck, you have to stop talking about twin flame as if it matters, because it literally does not matter. And I'm like, as a reader, it's so funny because I'm starting to get so frustrated with this, but it's my own. Like, I'm in this collective. Like, I have the same thing. Like, oh, it's supposed to be, this is what? No, absolutely not. No. To remove this block, you must welcome in, look at this says, lovers, plural. There's not one. There's infinite possibilities. There's infinite permutations of the career that you want to pursue. There's infinite locations that are going to match your specific manifestation. If you are focused here on one thing, you're going to stay stuck. And you really don't want to, because your general energy is you want to stop being stuck, right? So if you want to keep on the twin flame journey and keep thinking about it and having that motivate you and listening to readings about it, there is nothing wrong with that either, because that is teaching you what you need to learn. The twin flame journey is about healing. So I encourage you to do whatever you feel most inclined to do. But if you're in the collective where you are sick of feeling stuck and you don't want to feel stuck anymore, then this message is clear. No more twin flame. No more. Let it go. Let that story go. Because at the end of the day, the person that you think is your twin flame, that person still has avoidant attachment behaviors. That person still has childhood traumas that they haven't healed from yet. That person still doesn't respect you. That person isn't here talking to you right now, working this out, right? So even if it's your twin flame, which God in heaven, I hope it's not, because it's a pain in the ass. Even if that is true, that person is still not with you on the journey. Do you see this card? It is in reverse. So you must have found them at a point in your life when you're not meant to be together and you're in separation. So are you going to stay stuck in separation focusing on it? You don't want to. That was your general energy. You're like, no, I don't want to. All right. If you don't want to, then you have to just stop telling the story. Stop watching readings about it. There's readings about all kinds of other things. There's readings about career. There's readings about self-discovery. You can watch twin flame readings and really think about the masculine energy as your own, because that's what it is. All right. Who or what should I release to move on? All right. Your headspace has this Queen of Swords energy. And your heart space has the Nine of Cups in reverse. So this is overthinking. This is trying to conquer your emotions and feelings. And there's an element here of being a little too slash and burn about things sometimes, I think. So you're really wanting to release the constant thinking about this wish fulfillment. And this Nine of Cups, when we see it in a spread, it means we're going to get our wish. Now our wish, good morning, Michelle. Our wish right now is to release this self-protection energy. It's to remove this obstacle, which is our inability to move on and choose ourselves. So our wish right now is to move on and choose ourselves. So when we are looking at this position, what should I release to move on? You need to release this wish fulfillment. Just release that wish. Oh, I wish this person who wasn't really good for me in any possible way would come and be with me, and then continue to have a lot of cyclic patterns that don't serve me because they don't have the tools that they need, and I'll just help them and I'll give them the tools that they need, ignoring my whole health, well-being, everything, because I was trained as a child through a traumatic event to take care of everybody except for myself. I don't want you to do that. So I want you to release this constant thinking about this wish coming true, this constant thinking about this twin flame journey that was in reverse. What will help me move on? Not focusing on the twin flame. Who gives a fuck? If somebody comes up to me and tells me, oh, I have a twin flame, I'm going to be like, great. And if they want advice about it, I'm going to be like, I'll give you advice. If you want to keep growing and expanding, by all means, continue having that cyclic behavior. You're going to learn a lot. But there's other ways to grow and expand that don't involve someone abusing you emotionally for years on end. I promise. There's self-help books. There's like courses you can take. Hop in my DMs. I will help you heal your traumatic childhood wounds through subconscious reprogramming instead of through this other person who you are convinced is the one. Yeah, he's the one big pain in your ass. Okay, let's see. What can I learn from my current pause? So this current pause we're in while we're dealing with this self-protection energy, what can we learn? This is the Five of Swords in reverse. Just love these cards. It's very interesting, that mirroring energy. And they look so defeated, huh? And the Four of Swords. So what you are learning right now is, first of all, to have faith and trust that there's a couple of things here. One is, it's really difficult for you to accept defeat. You're a very determined person. What you don't understand is that giving up on something, accepting defeat in something that doesn't serve you, immediately makes you magnetic and opens you up to being able to attract what you need. And you're also learning to keep your mouth shut. You are learning not to just word vomit your emotional reactivity, but to sit with things and stay silent and observe actions. Because a lot of times, good morning, a lot of times what we do is we're writing all these stories with this Queen of Swords energy. We're telling all the stories. Oh, so we send a message, Divine Masculine doesn't respond, and then we're just sitting there going like, well, you know, probably this is happening, or that, or this, or this, or that, or this, or this, and the other thing, and this, and that, and this, and this, and this, and that, and this. How many of those minutes that you just spent wondering what was going on in this silence, thinking, making up stories, could you have been thinking about what is actually happening right now for you in the present moment? If I could take all the minutes I have spent trying to suss out what another person is thinking and apply all of those minutes to my passions and my interests. Honestly, even just like doing my nails or like, you know, doing a hair treatment, taking a bath and being relaxed, enjoying things. Not even just getting work done in the full capitalist mentality of like, oh, I could have gotten so much work done. I could have so much money by now. Who fucking cares about that? Literally, you could have just like had a hair washing day and a spa day and actually enjoyed it because you weren't thinking the whole time about what Divine Masculine was doing or saying or thinking. So you're learning in this pause to be quiet, to watch and to wait, to pray, to trust. And you were learning about how it's one thing to not accept defeat in regards to being single-mindedly focused on one individual. And it's another thing to continue to fight against yourself. You don't need to do that anymore. You need to give up. You need to let go and let God. I feel like that's what these two cards are. Let go and let God, right? That's what you're learning to do. Because before, with the twin flame story in your mind, you were trying to control the outcome of the situation. You were like, okay, I can see what this is. This is the twin flame story. So when we hit the culmination of this, I'm going to be happily ever after. I can control the way that I feel in my relationship by reassuring myself that this person is meant to be with me, which for some reason in my mind means it's going to be wonderful. When in reality, usually you're meant to experience, you know when people say this was meant to happen? When shit happens. When shit happens. People are like, I guess this is just, it was just meant to be this way, and it was just meant to happen like this. I mean, we do say that about positive things, but 9 times out of 10, when stuff goes wrong, the thing that someone says to you is like, well, things happen for a reason, man. And you're like, yeah. And that makes you feel better. Okay, that's the twin flame fucking journey. This happens for a reason. What's the reason? It's shitty. It's shitty. It's tower, 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 tower. It accelerates you into your ascension. But like I said before, there are other ways that don't involve blocking yourself from having fulfilling companionships with many different people who are going to teach you many different things. I want you to look for a soulmate. Just look for a soulmate. And the soulmate is going to be a match. And they're going to match you not in the way that they're going to trigger you, but they're going to match you in the way that they're going to complement you. The final position is, what can I look forward to once this obstacle is removed? Oh, you have to be kidding me. I cannot. If you remove this obstacle, reciprocity, reciprocal love. You don't say. With who? A muse of emotions, a king of cups. So why do we get fixated on twin flame journey? I guess it must be because we want to come into union with someone. But isn't it ironic that the fixation on the twin flame journey, the inability to move on and choose to fill your cup, keeps us from coming into union? Let it go. It's hard, but you got to do it. You have to. If you want to be free and you want to move on. If you want to continue expanding in this way and growing in this way, that is fine. That's fine. You will keep accelerating into your ascension, and eventually you will likely choose a soulmate and move on. But for now, do what you need to do. But this obstacle was being unable to move on and choose yourself. And for those of us who really do want to move on, and we're like, how do we do it? Stop telling the twin flame story. That's how you do it. All right, so let us focus on our goddess energy and the advice that we need to help us move forward. Okay, so I have all these oracle decks and they're all sitting on my desk and they are located in the same position they've always been located in. And every single day I pull them out to use them in my readings, and I skip over this one deck, The Universe Has Your Back. And first, I don't even know why I do it. I just have done it a few times. And for some reason I was like, oh, I'm going to use that deck today. And the first card that comes out of this deck is, the key to prayer is to forget what I think I need. You think you need to be with this one person who is your twin flame. If you would like your prayers to be answered, you need to forget about the identity of the one person and pray for this King of Cups. Okay? Straight from Spirit. You are in the shadow attributes right now of the Alchemist. So you are needing to transform your base motives and goals into wisdom. Base motive, I want to have one person with me for sexy times. And you know what? I hate to tell you, but as much as you come here and you are a light worker and you do have these skills and abilities to be a healer, and that's why you're in the Twin Flame Collective, etc., for the most part, your goal is still just to be with a person. It's just to be with another person. And I explored that yesterday in my morning pages. Like, why? I have people constantly confirming that they love me. I have people checking in on me every day. I have people sending me memes and thinking about me all day. Many friends who do that. And I do that for many friends too. So I don't have a lack of love. I don't have a lack of attention. I don't have a lack of consideration and respect from those people. So what is it then? Is it just I don't want to be alone in my apartment? Well, girl, when I'm with a lot of people in a house for a long time, I am like, even just like for Thanksgiving, I can remember when I was like with my family on Thanksgiving, I'd have a great time, and inevitably I would go upstairs to my room just for a little while, read books, be alone. And I would need to do that. Like at events, I have to go. I'm an extroverted introvert. So alone time is super important to me. So I actually like that even. So I'm like, okay, is it just physical union? If it's just physical union, I can get that. So what is it? Why do I have this feeling like I have to have a person? And there's two reasons. Number one, I don't like thinking about myself, because my love for myself, my worthiness has been so low for so long that, and I was trained by a caregiver who did the same thing to constantly be thinking about everybody else's concerns and then resenting everybody for not being able to think about herself. So I learned that behavior, and then I'm a feminine. And in our culture, for centuries, the only value we had was in our dowry and our ability to produce heirs. Now, I'm not saying that gender that there are men that don't want to have relationships or aren't here wanting to be with this one person. It's not about gender, but the feminine inside of ourselves, whether we're a man or a female or anything in between on that spectrum. And it is a spectrum, please. Gender is a spectrum, okay? Wherever we are, the feminine has been taught her role is to nurture everyone and sacrifice self. That's it. So the fixation on that base motive of just being with one person, if you go a little bit deeper into that, it's like a genetic predisposition emphasized by the how much of the feminine you take on in your gender. Men, in our culture, the masculine has the ability to pursue careers, sow their wild oats, you know, be able to explore, be able to like have all these different experiences, different relationships with different people. You know, we don't call men sluts. Like, men are allowed to have they'll run the gamut of their experience in the world before they ever consider settling down to a family. Eventually they might get pressure. Oh, you should really settle down. Oh, you should settle down. But if they don't, what do we call them? They're bachelors. They get to fuck whoever they want till they die. What about a woman who doesn't settle down? Old maid. Her life's over. She's got nothing. These are limiting beliefs we carry. Those limiting beliefs will cause us to fixate on coming into union with someone, because if we don't, we have no value. But your value doesn't come through the other person. That's why you can't get that other person to be with you, because you keep insisting that they're going to give you your value. And the universe is like, no, wrong again, wrong again. Nope, they still don't give you your value. Not this time either, and not this time. And that's why we're constantly having to release our attachment. Because we're attached to something, we think it's going to give us value or increase our worth. But we have to have our own worthiness to be able to truly possess anything in the material plane. We are also in the shadow attributes of the Samaritan, which is exacting appreciation and recognition for the help that you offer. So there's a little bit of a chip on our shoulders, because we're thinking to ourselves, I do all this good work, I do all of this, and I can't transform this situation. I can't, like, I give everything. Why can't I just have this? Like, can I have this? Because the problem is your ego is insisting on that remuneration, because your ego is convinced that your worth comes from recognition. But your worth comes from the fact that you had a desire, inspired by the divine, to offer help or service in some way, and you fulfill it. That's it. That's truly it. If that's not it, then every time you experience a gift or a blessing from someone in your life, do you have like a ledger where you keep track? You're like, oh, today when I was walking, this woman on the corner smiled to me. Tomorrow I shall smile back. I don't think we account for every single nice thing that happens to us and then feel that we must now go recognize this. Like, we are blessed with this, that people do nice things for us just because, without expecting anything. And we have to have that same feeling. This could also be about our feelings about that masculine energy, where we've done all this work and now we get nothing. But that's because what we were focused on is that we would get him. But we did all this work and we got ourselves. And so that's why we're sort of feeling this chafing energy of like, well, I'm not getting what I should be getting. But you have to forget what you think that you need. Your guardian angel is here to support you with this inner child energy. There's a lot of the fantasy that comes from this block starts here with this little girl for the feminine. The song that came on today was interesting. It was Apricot Princess by Rex Orange County. It really sounded like it was from the divine masculine perspective. I was irritated because I was like, I'm trying to do this feminine focused thing. But when I just see the title Princess, and honestly, you should go look at the lyrics because they are very beautiful, and it's about what we're talking about. It's like not wanting to be alone, not wanting someone else to be alone, and fearing our own isolation sort of deal. But these stories that we're telling, these stories that we're really holding on to, very difficult to break because they come from our childhood when we watched all those princess stories. One time I was babysitting, I remember when I was in high school, and I went to babysit. It was two little girls, and they had this Disney princess book with all the Disney movies in it from the perspective of the princesses. So I was reading them to the little girls, and I was horrified. And this is when I was young. I remember I was like 17 or something. And I was like, this is fucked up. I remember specifically, it was like the Aladdin story. And it was like, Jasmine was doing whatever, the funk, so that Aladdin went blah, blah, blah. And I was just like, ew. It was telling it was like a 1950s feminine perspective from these princesses. And it was weird because if you actually watch the movies, they're problematic, but they aren't that problematic. So it was like they made it even worse somehow. I was like disgusted by it. This is what we're born with. This is what we absorb as feminines, young feminines. And we're taught that we're princesses in a tower, and that we're going to be saved, and that there's Prince Charming, and there's only one, and there's one slipper. There's one glass slipper that's going to fit one foot. So you're being supported right now in releasing, because this card came in reverse, releasing the stories of the inner child in a nice way, just being like, I know that's what you thought it was going to be like. And I know that you had to think that because when you looked around you in the world, things were not great. I feel so much emotion because children are so hopeful. And when things are so bad, you cling to hope. And hope is beautiful. And it helps you tell beautiful stories. But we get very attached to the story when what we need to extract from them is the essence, not the outer aspects. And here's where the emotion is: grieving. You're gonna have to grieve. It's really difficult to release a story like this. It's very difficult. It's a part of self. It's a way we have identified ourselves. And it causes a lot of grief to transform our ideas because we have to release those old stories. We also have to grieve for the time we wasted. And that's an assessment we have. It's not real because we don't waste any time. But our feeling, our regret that we've spent this time and energy on an individual that was fulfilling the role of a story from our childhood. Wow. Oh, wow. Full moon in Sagittarius. Look at the bigger picture. If you are not moved at seeing this card, which is literally happening right now as we speak, the eclipse this morning in the wee morning hours, and throughout the rest of today, this release energy, this obstacle that we're removing to release this story about this person and look at the bigger picture instead of one single individual. Call in your tribe. You do not have to do this alone. You have a soul tribe around you. You have friends. You have companions that can help you move on, that can help you focus on yourself. You don't have to do this by yourself. It's very difficult. I don't recommend you try to do this by yourself. Either get spiritual counseling, hop into my DMs. If I have time and I can take on a client, I will help you. And I have many friends here in this community who are taking on clients I can recommend you go see. Get help releasing a story like this. Use every tool. Use Lacey Phillips, howtomanifest.com. Use, it's your own spiritual practice. Get a therapist. Look for a therapist who does internal family systems. That's one of the best therapy systems I've ever known. And it is kind of similar to what we do when we go inside and find those traumatic wounds and then reparent. It's very similar. So look for somebody to help you. And then finally, we're closing the reading with, I can't stand how the screen does, with our goddess energy. And then I have this beautiful deck that Ash sent me, the Mother Mary Oracle, and we're going to use that today. First, let's look at our goddess. We pulled Gaia today. I mean, that's a big goddess, okay? Gaia existed before everything. She existed before time. Gaia, the eternal prehistoric Earth Mother Goddess, is fertility incarnate, moist, mysterious, strong. She is life energy itself. Everything that lives, breathing or not, overflows with her life. She is the earth and all the powers of the earth. Gaia is not always a consoling goddess, standing for life and generation without thought of consequence. She has an energy and a power that must be approached carefully. All bodies eventually return to her, into the black, fertile earth to be devoured and to receive her life to live again. As goddess of the soul, Gaia reminds us that the soul develops in dark places and that ultimately soul must be rooted in body, in earth. She is a reminder that we must ground ourselves in the reality of nature and incorporate all sides of ourselves, be they pleasant or unpleasant, light or dark. That's a pretty powerful energy to have with us. And then we are getting this beautiful card, Our Lady Who Gives Peace. Now, this is by an Elena Fairchild, and she does love to write. So bear with me, but her messages are gorgeous. Our Lady Who Gives Peace. You have been holding on. I cannot fucking make this up. You have been holding on to a deep concern, and I ask you to hand it over to me now. Allow me to offer you a gift in exchange for your devotion and trust. I offer you the gift of peace. Peace that all is now resolved. Peace that the material situation is flowing towards perfect completion. My peace be with you now, child. Handing over a concern to the Divine Mother can sound easier in theory than how it is experienced in practice. We might think that we are handing something over, but if we are worrying about it again in 5 minutes or in 5 days, then we have taken it back again. Handing something over means a complete and utter letting go, a surrender of attachment to the outcome, and a willingness to trust that what is meant to be will be. It is based on an acceptance that the divine wants the best for us and that whatever happens will best serve us, irrespective of whether we are initially thrilled or initially disappointed in the result. We can ask for what we want with great passionate enthusiasm, and then ask that what we are given serves us best. When we pray in this way, we allow the divine to present us with opportunities and solutions that will supersede any concepts we could have come up with on our own. We allow the divine brilliance to be. Mother Mary can bring us a gift of inner peace when we approach our spiritual life in this way. That doesn't mean we don't care, that we check out of our relationships in our world. It means that we are blessed with an ability to accept what is and to relax and trust of what is yet to be. That is so clear by what you are learning right now in this pause, in the spread. To relax in trust of what is yet to be, which means you have to let go of what you think it is. And if you think it is this one person, you're not trusting what is supposed to be, right? In times of great spiritual growth, there is near constant uncertainty. A seemingly endless process of transition can be experienced if you are on an accelerated spiritual path this lifetime, which is highly likely to be the case as you are attracted to this oracle deck, which resonates at such a vibration. It is a precious resource to be able to find a place of peace that doesn't stop us from growing, but empowers us to relax and trust with contentment in our process, even when our process is one of great tests or challenges. Mother Mary comes to you through this oracle with a message to be heeded. You are either in a situation now where you feel tested and challenged and are uncertain as to whether or not you should be worried, or you are going to have an issue that comes to a head soon which may feel challenging to you. Do not fear. She says this, I am with you. I am your cloak of protection and the eye in your heart that shows you the way through. Trust me and allow me to bring you peace. From that peaceful place within, you will be able to make choices that help you greatly. You will be inspired by the inner guidance from the Divine Mother, which flows more easily into your peaceful mind. Do not worry if you do not see a way forward at the moment. That is a question of timing only. At the right time, nudges are given and a way forward becomes visible. If you cannot see a solution right now, that does not mean that there is no solution. It simply means that the threads of the situation or issue are still being unknotted. Have you ever tried to quickly unpick a knot? In a hurried fashion, the threads can become tighter. In a relaxed fashion, they can easily and instantly unravel. With the gift of peace, your life may seem to slow down, but the resolution of problems will quicken. Open to her gift of peace and experience this for yourself, beloved. So there is a healing process and an affirmation, and I will take a picture of it and post it in my stories so that you can go and do the healing process, because it's a meditation. So I will post that for you afterwards. But I couldn't have put that better myself, Mother Mary. That's a beautiful way to conclude this. I want to thank you so very much for joining me here today. And I am going to continue to focus on this feminine empowerment for the next 7 days. Tomorrow will be a normal spread, so it won't be this obstacles removed spread, but it won't be masculine feminine spread. So I'm probably going to be doing something a little different for each of the spreads this week. Instead of having one single wild card, I'm just going to be changing it up. And since this reading really wasn't as long as it normally is, if there's anyone who wants to ask a question, you may do so at this time. I'm going to go ahead and shuffle one last deck to pull one last message for our day. And then I'm also going to do, if I can find my playing cards. Where did they go? Oh, I put them out. There it is. All right. I also want to give us advice just for what we can do today to come into our Empress energy. Fully embody our Empress. All right, one last tarot card for the day. Hello, welcome. You feel free to ask a question if you want to. I am shuffling through a tarot deck, and I would be more than happy to pull a card for you. All right. Oh, this is the card to end our reading today. It is the Sun from the Small Spells Tarot, and it is in reverse. Because it's funny. We've actually kind of come to a point where we have a lot to celebrate, a lot to be happy about. And we are learning that we are not diminished by being alone, that we are, we're not fully able to taste our happiness because we're very focused on the outcome of what will bring us this happiness, instead of understanding that we have the potential to really enjoy this right now, in this moment. If we detach ourselves from this need that we have had, if we forget what we think we need, we would be able to really experience this appreciation that is here. All right, let's get closing energy and just ask, what can we do today to help us be fully empowered? Please like and share, and if you're watching this on Instagram, please save it. I know that you wouldn't bother saving stuff for the most part, but that helps us, I guess. Apparently the algorithm helps us a lot. So please save this if you can. And if you're on YouTube, click the description box below. There's a link to my Patreon if you want to have access to additional content, help support me and my ability to read to you every single day. There's a link in the bio on Instagram as well with that same information in it. All right, the final advice for today. Wow. This is how to come into our empowerment. Let me just think about this. We're getting the Six of Cups, the Five of Swords, and the Ace of Pentacles. So today, I think we need to accept defeat in regards to this past energy and this offer that we thought was on the table. We need to let it go. What we thought in the past would serve us, it will not. And there are other offers that are waiting for us to receive. And until we actually let go of this offer, we won't be able to receive them. So today, you got to try your best to really remove those obstacles, release the story, and release the specific iteration of masculine energy, or the specific iteration of the field or job you want, or the thing that you want, however this applies. In the bottom of the deck, oh wow, I'm actually going to show both of these cards. Oh my god. Oh my god. Oh my god. All right, I'm going to show them all. Bottom of the deck, the main card we're most interested in, but I'm going to show you the other ones because, oh my god. It's a Six of Swords. Move on. Transition. Learn your lesson. Why are you stuck? Because you haven't learned your lesson. That's it. People are like, when they talk to me, they're like, well, I know my worthiness is up. And I'm like, it is. Your worthiness is up. I'm like, I know this. I know that. Why? And I'm like, what? You haven't learned your lesson. Learn the lesson. What is the lesson? You just watched me for an hour almost, or whatever the hell time it's been. Let go of the story. Move on. Move on. If you do, here's what you get. Ten of Pentacles. Oh my god. That's everything. That's everything you want. What's under that? The reward. What's under that? A King of Cups and a Queen of Cups. Can I make it up? I really can't. I hope this helped you today. I know it helped me. It just reiterated what I already know. What is very, very painful, very, very painful to have to accept and do in your life. But you must release this iteration, and you must not consider this iteration ever again, unless when they show up, they meet every single requirement on the list that if you haven't made today, you are going to make today, of your non-negotiables. I want you to think about what an Empress is treated like, and then I want you to write that down, and then I want you to turn that into a list of how you will be treated. If this specific iteration shows up, sends you a message, knocks on your door, whatever, you have to hold on to the idea that unless they matched the inspiration of what you desire, they are just a lesson. They are just a test for you. It's just the universe being like, do you really want it? Do you really want what you wrote down? Or you only kind of want it? You still want to kind of please someone else first? Or do you really want to please me? When I was growing up and I went to Catholic church, I was taught to please God. What I didn't know is that that was me. Anyway, I hope that helps you today. If no one has any questions, I'm going to go ahead and close out. Thank you very, very, very much for being here. And I shall see you here tomorrow morning, most likely on Instagram Live since my computer camera is still not working. Sorry about it. But I will be here tomorrow morning to bring the tea. Have a good day.